Coral reefs. Coral reefs are home to thousands of living organisms. A massive reef community is made up of many types and shapes of corals. A reef can be hundreds of miles long with thousands of sea animals inhabiting it. All types of creatures are bustling about, day and night. Almost 25% of all plants and animals in the ocean live around coral reefs. What is coral? The corals that form the reefs often look like rocks or plants. Corals are actually groups of tiny animals called polyps. Most polyps are smaller in size than a pea. There may be thousands of polyps living on a mound or branch of coral. Each polyp is an eating machine. It has a sac-like body and a mouth that is surrounded by tiny tentacles. At night, its tentacles stretch out like hands to catch food. Types of coral. One of the two main types of coral is hard or stony coral. Most stony corals live with nutritious plants called algae, which provide food for the corals. Stony coral polyps have a hard skeleton. After the polyps die, the skeletons are left behind. Over time, millions of these skeletons help build a reef. The second main type of coral is soft coral. Soft corals are flexible and able to bend with the tides. Some kinds of soft coral are also poisonous and will sting if touched. Many corals are named for what they look like. Stony brain corals look like brains. Elkhorn corals look like the broad horns of an elk. Soft sea whip and sea pen corals look like long whips and pens. Sea fan corals branch out wide to trap bits of plankton to eat as they drift by. A busy underwater community. When people think of coral reefs, they also think of brightly colored fish, and with good reason. Thousands of fish of all sizes, shapes, and colors live around reefs. They depend on the reefs for both food and protection. Number 6. What are the two types of coral? Stony coral and hard coral. A. B. Soft coral and pink coral. C. Soft coral and stony coral. D. Stony coral and red coral. Number 7. Read the paragraph. The corals that form the reefs often look like rocks or plants. Corals are actually groups of tiny animals called polyps. Most polyps are smaller in size than a pea. There may be thousands of polyps living on a mound or branch of coral. Each polyp is an eating machine. It has a sac-like body and a mouth that is surrounded by tiny tentacles. At night, its tentacles stretch out like hands to catch food. What is the meaning of the word polyp? A. Communities that stretch out for hundreds of miles. B. Animals that live inside coral reefs. C. Tiny animals that group together and form corals. D. Tentacles that reach out to grab food as it floats by. Number 8, Part A. What conclusion can be drawn about why the author included the detail corals are actually groups of tiny animals called polyps in paragraph 2? A. The author thought readers didn't know what polyps are. B. The author thought the readers might assume coral was not a living creature. C. The author thought the readers already knew coral was made up of living animals but didn't know they were called polyps. D. The author thought the reader knew many fish live near coral reefs. Part B, number 9. Which sentence from the passage best supports your answer to Part A? A. The corals that form the reefs often look like rocks or plants. B. Most polyps are smaller in size than a pea. C. There may be thousands of polyps living on a mound or branch of coral. D. Each polyp is an eating machine. Number 10. Select the sentence that gives the best conclusion that can be drawn about the author's purpose for including the section A Busy Underwater Community. A. The author's purpose was to inform us. B. The author's purpose was to show that coral reefs are an important part of the ocean ecosystem. C. The author's purpose was to show that thousands of fish live near coral reef. D. The author's purpose was to persuade us to save reefs.